Vehicle balance has been quite a hot topic within Planetside 2 to say the least, and I think with Planetside Arena we will have the exact same discussion again. But what should you know about all these vehicles? Well, let's discuss. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Fable as usual, and it's kinda unreal, but it's only 2 days left until Planetside Arena. I have been kinda hyping the game up since December 2018, and well, it is September now, it's almost the 19th, and it is one of the final days we can talk about Arena before it actually launches. So guys, the main topic of today are the vehicles and also the vehicle balance. Before we get started with the vehicles though, I do want to remind you guys that I will do a special review as well for the Arena, and it will mainly be an honest review to show you guys if you should or should not buy the game. If you don't want to miss out on that video or future videos from me as well, then do not forget to press that big red subscribe button down below. And also, moreover, if you're watching tonight right now on the 17th of September, there will be another playtest, probably starting around 1 PM Pacific time or around 11, 10, 12 Central European time. It depends a bit, it's still a bit unclear, but there will be another playtest. So if you're watching right now live, then you might see some content. Otherwise, you can also check out my VOD later on at twitch.tv/Faber1. Or what you could also do, go to my Discord down below, and there we discuss all the experiences as well. So just check out all the links down below, and I guess you'll be fine. On that guys, it is time to talk about the vehicles, because I have to say, when they initially revealed Arena, I was kind of thinking of Arena as a infantry game mainly. Planetside 2 has always been known about its combined warfare, so it had planes, it had tanks, it had a lot of vehicles. Just in general, there were a lot of ways in Planetside 2, and there are a lot of ways in Planetside 2 to move around on the map, and even use vehicles to attack other players as well. Then again, on the initial reveal, it wasn't really clear what kind of vehicles will be in the game. I think we saw the squad bike, and I think we did see a Vanguard or something alike, but still, it was a bit unclear. The main question mark we had was because of Massive Clash. Massive Clash back then was a 250 vs 250 mode, and we didn't know what kind of mode it would be. Would it be like base versus base, or would it be like in Planetside 2, or would it be a Battle Royale mode? We didn't know back then, but at the reveal I was thinking, hey, those vehicles, those Vanguards, those other vehicles, Harassers, those are all made for Massive Clash. But right now we know a bit better. We do know that Vanguards, Harassers, and also all the squad bikes and the Tempest are made for Battle Royale as well. The vehicles in Planetside are often referred to as the force multipliers, because well, you do have an extra force basically. You're a bit more powerful with a vehicle. Because of this, there's also power imbalance, and that might be pretty unfair. So there's something in Battle Royales especially they try to prevent. Therefore also, I do think that PlayerUnknown's Battleground opted to go for non-killing vehicles, but mainly as just transport vehicles. And yes, you can still kill people with vehicles in that game as well in PUBG, but that's only possible if you run them over, and that's not always that easy. After PUBG, many other studios tried to make their own Battle Royale, and one of the Battle Royales that opted to go a bit more aggressive with vehicles was Firestorm in Battlefield 5. Traditionally, I think Battlefield and Planetside have quite some similarities, and also in this time it is the case with their Battle Royale modes. I think the overall opinion in Battlefield 5 and Firestorm is that vehicles are not overpowered. There is a reason though why people think it's not overpowered in Firestorm, and that's mainly because it's first of all hard to obtain one. Secondly, it's also really scarce, there are only a few tanks on the map. And third, there are many anti-tank weapons in the game. There is C4, there are anti-tank nades, there are rocket launchers, and don't even get me started about the V1 rocket, because also that's a really effective killing machine for tanks. But okay, let's now go back to Planetside Arena. How's the balance over there? Let's start with the weapons, the anti-tank weapons. Unfortunately, there is not really a wide variety of different weapons against tanks in Planetside Arena. Basically, there are 2, maybe 3. I haven't tried everything out yet, but the most important anti-tank weapon is a Decimator. The Decimator works like in Planetside 2 as a normal rocket launcher, and is pretty effective especially in the back of a tank. Other than that, I also know you can use a Lasher against tanks, and I do also think if you find the epic gear, you can also sometimes use grenade launchers effectively against tanks. There is one big problem with this system right now though, and that is that getting actually an anti-tank weapon is relatively hard. To obtain an anti-tank weapon you need to loot a legendary loot crate, and those are pretty scarce in the map. I'm not saying you can't find one, but you need to be a little bit lucky at least. I think the system on Battlefield 5 is a bit better in this department, because at least over there are plenty and plenty of weapons against tanks, and they are just across the whole map. I do have to give credit where credit is due, and that is the implementation of the orbital strike nades, because the orbital strike nades, the OSs, are quite strong against tanks, and seeing a tank flee away from a laser beam, that is one of the most amazing things I've seen so far in the arena. Then let's continue to talk about the scarcity of tanks in the game and other vehicles as well. The first vehicle I need to mention is, well, your personal vehicle, because that vehicle is always on a cooldown. So it's actually quite easy to call it in and also get rid of it again. And there's an unlimited amount of use to this vehicle. So I think there's a non-existing scarcity for this vehicle. But then let's talk about the haressers. The haressers spawn in from the get-go in the map on a few random places, often harasser garages. And I think right now those are in a good place. They're not too much, they're not too many. It's fine. The big boy question though is the vanguards. The vanguards spawn in after approximately, I think, minute 20, and there's only an X amount of them. I don't know if it's a fixed amount, but there are only a few. There are enough tanks on the map though that if you want to grab them all quickly as one squad, you could do that. Because all the vehicles actually show up on the map, you can quite easily find them, but only on your minimap I have to say there. So it's often a race to find the first harasser or the first vanguard. Since the vanguard is still the newest addition to the game, I think we are really testing this still, and getting the nice amount of tanks in the game, getting good balance, getting good placement for the tanks as well, that is still rather hard. But we're still in the early access phase, so I do think together, if you give them feedback, if you give them good advice as well, the tank balance with the scarcity will be okay. But right now it might be a little bit out of whack still. On the other hand, because there are so many tanks, actually they are fighting a lot against each other. So what you see a lot in practice right now is that there are tank versus tank battles. And I don't know if you guys have ever participated with the armor pickups, but during the armor pickups it's only tanks versus tanks. And the physics in the game feel good, the animations seem good, and the explosions even seem better. So right now the tank versus tank battles are truly epic. That is one of the plus sides about having more tanks, but if you don't have a tank, it's also one of the big downsides. Now let's go to the final point. How hard is it to obtain a vehicle? And in Battlefield 5 they got a really good solution for that. Every time you want to get a tank, you need to unlock a vault or actually shoot one of those flare guns. So you reveal your position, but once you reveal your position, also the tank will drop down if you are lucky. Not always guaranteed, but if you're lucky you will get a tank. In Planetside Arena you do not have to unlock vaults, you do not have to shoot flare guns, no. The vehicles will just appear. There's one thing though, because the vehicles will appear, they will also show up on the minimap. In theory what you could do is make an ambush. You're just waiting for the guys that are moving towards the tank, and once they're getting close to the tank, you just mow them down. That might be a good solution, but other than that, you just press the E button and you're in. It's that easy, really. So all in all, if you think about this, it seems like the mechanics are really in favor of tank users right now. But I do have to say the following, and that is the impact of the tanks. Yes, if you shoot really well, you will have a one-hit kill and actually you will down someone. That is perfectly doable, but it's rather hard, and I will explain. The Vanguard and also the Harasser have 3 spots available. One for the driver, the second one is for the gunner, and the third one is for the top gunner, or in the Vanguard is only the rumble seat. So at least the second guy will always be able to shoot. But once you're driving, it is really hard to fire. Also, and keep this in mind, you always will need a second player. And this is not only, I think, a balance issue, a balance thing, but also something to coordinate with your team to really play as a squad. In all honesty, playing like this is still rather hard, so the effective use of a tank is still quite minimal, and that is also, I think, good for the balance. It might be the case that we're still getting used to the game, that we're still training for the game, and the more we play, the better we will become. But right now, the impact of tanks is still rather minimal. The big thing though is the fear factor. Planetside 2 is known about its relatively short time to kill, especially in comparison to Planetside Arena. And over there, yes, you will go down by, for example, Basilisk or Kobold really quickly. That is not the case with, for example, the Halberd or the Kobold on top of the Vanguard. Still, people are thinking way too much of Planetside 2 when they are playing Planetside Arena, and the time to kill is completely different. Moreover, you're more mobile than ever. You can always call in your own personal vehicle, so if you want to move away, you can do that. Tanks are slow, you are not, remember. So, conclusion time. They still need to tweak some things. They need to think about a game where if you want to play with a tank a few times at least every few games, they need to be able to provide that as well. They need to provide enough vehicles so that 300 players can actually have fun sometimes as well. But they don't want to ruin the balance. They're still in the works right now, and as early access players, we are testing that. When they're gonna add more vehicles, for example air vehicles, then the balance might change, but in that case we will make, of course, a new video, we will update. But for now, early access beta phase, well, the balance seems okay for now. It doesn't ruin the gameplay. Some people might be crying because, well, it is not the infantry game they were hoping for, but it is all still part of a Planetside franchise. Vehicles are there to stay. So guys, I think for now you know enough about vehicles. If you got any questions, any remarks, any discussion points, let me know in the comments down below. But for now, that's me, that's Fable1, and we'll see you soon with some more content.